My name is Evelyn, and I am still sitting in the same house my husband and I chose back when love was young and interest rates were low in 1965. These walls have heard our laughter, they have held our grief, and now they hold me. I still cook my own food, I still pay my own bills, and the only voice that tells me when to rest is my own. I am not here selling dreams and shiny bottles. I spent my working years as a librarian. I was raised by facts. I was shaped by logic. And I trust common sense more than I trust wishful thinking. Staying out of a nursing home is not luck. It is not genetics. It is not some secret blessing whispered by the universe. It is a strategy, a deliberate, stubborn, sometimes uncomfortable strategy to protect your independence. My mother was a powerful woman, the kind who could quiet a room just by standing in it. But in the end, she was placed inside a facility, and I watched her identity shrink until it fit on a plastic wristband. She went from being the center of our family to being a bed assignment, a meal schedule, a pill chart. Strangers decided when she ate, when she slept, when she swallowed. Her life turned into a checklist. And standing there beside her, I felt something shift inside my bones. Not fear, a resolve. Her mistake was not aging. We all do that. Her mistake was believing that old age was something that happened to her. But aging is not a storm you stand in. It is a path you walk, and you can walk it with strength, or you can drag yourself through it. I chose to walk. So I built a plan, not a cute one, not a motivational one, a survival plan, because the silence around aging is not an accident. It is a collective denial. People avoid this subject because it scares them, and what you refuse to look at eventually runs your life. That fear is exactly how people end up in places they swore they never would. So let me tell you what I did. First, I never let gravity win. I'm not talking about becoming an athlete. I'm talking about refusing to become furniture. The moment a chair feels safer than a short walk, the slow erasing begins. Your body is not a museum piece. It is a tool, and tools that are not used rust. I walk every day, not for beauty, for survival. I pull weeds, I lift groceries, I make my muscles remember what they are for. It is not about gyms. It is about sending a message to your bones that says, we are still needed. According to the book Younger Next Year by Chris Crowley and Henry Lodge, page 41, the line says, sedentary aging is optional. That line changed how I looked at my own future. Second, I trained my mind like it was still hungry. Your brain is not an antique. It is a living engine. The day you stop working should be the day you start learning again. I read every morning. I argue with women half my age about novels. I do crossword puzzles that make me feel stupid, which is exactly why I love them. When curiosity dies, so does the world. In Mindset by Carol Dweck, page 98, she writes, "The passion for stretching yourself and sticking to it is the hallmark of the growth mindset." That's not a quote for young people. That's oxygen for the old. When your world shrinks to the size of your living room, you are already in danger. So I keep the lights on upstairs. Third, I refuse to disappear quietly. Loneliness does not arrive screaming. It tiptoes, it whispers, it convinces you that no one needs you anymore. And when a human being believes they are unnecessary, they begin to fade. My husband has been gone for 2 decades. After he died, this house was so quiet it felt like it was listening for him, too. It would have been easy to close the curtains and let the days blur together, but I made a rule. I speak to another human being every single day, out loud in real time. I call my grandson every Wednesday. I play bridge on Fridays. I read stories to children at the library. I make myself unavoidable. Because the opposite of connection is not solitude, it is erasure. Fourth, I prepared for the part nobody likes to imagine. You will weaken. You will slow. Denying that is not bravery. It is self-sabotage. At 75, I redesigned this house, not because I was fragile, because I was wise. Grab bars in the shower, wide doorways, clear walkways. I built my future before I needed it. In psychology, this is called proactive coping. You respond to stress before it arrives, and it saves lives. I also organized my money, my documents, my wishes. My children know exactly where everything is. In Being Mortal by Atul Gawande, page 65, he writes, "Autonomy is the deepest need of the human spirit." That sentence is the heartbeat of everything I did. This is not about fearing death. This is about refusing to stop living before it comes. It's about dignity. It's about authorship. And here I am now, still in my home, surrounded by memories that know my name. 83 years old, still standing, still choosing. And that, my dear, is not an accident. One day you stop driving at night. Then you stop going out after dark. Then you stop going out at all. Not because you can't, but because it feels easier not to. Psychologists call this learned helplessness, when the mind starts believing limits that the body never asked for. It is not your knees that give up first, it is your expectations. That is how people end up stuck in places they never chose. I watched it happen over and over. Friends who used to host dinner parties slowly turned into people waiting for someone to check on them. They did not fall, they drifted. In The Art of Aging by Sherwin Luland, page 112, he writes, "We do not age suddenly, we surrender gradually." That line has haunted me for years. So I built friction into my life. I made things slightly inconvenient on purpose. I carry my own bags. I climb my own stairs. I make my own tea. Convenience feels kind, but it steals you slowly. And then there is fear. Fear is the real architect of nursing homes. Fear of being alone, fear of being a burden, fear of dying in your own bed. So people trade freedom for the illusion of safety. In The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker, page 49, he wrote, "The fear of death is the mainspring of human activity." And he was right. We will give up everything just to avoid thinking about the end. But here's the truth nobody wants to face. Avoiding death doesn't keep you alive. Avoiding living does. That is why I made myself stay visible. I wear bright scarves. I ask questions in public. I tell stories no one asked for. I refuse to become background noise. In social psychology, there's something called social identity theory. When you stop being seen as a person, you start being treated like a category. Elderly, patient, resident. Those words erase names, so I protect mine. I flirt with the grocery clerk. I debate books with women who still think life is long. I laugh too loudly, because being alive is not quiet. And now let me say something that might make you uncomfortable. Most people in nursing homes are not there because they're sick. They're there because no one planned for their independence. They waited until crisis forced a decision, a fall, a hospital stay, a moment of panic. And suddenly their life is being rearranged by people who barely know them. In The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, page 144, he wrote, "Begin with the end in mind." That is not a business quote, that is a survival command. You do not wait for your house to burn down before you buy a fire extinguisher. You do not wait for your legs to fail before you make your home safe. That is called anticipatory planning in psychology. You prepare for decline without surrendering to it. That is what saved me. I did not wait to be scared. I chose to be ready. And readiness looks boring. It looks like paperwork. It looks like hard bars. It looks like hard conversations with your children. But boring is beautiful when the alternative is losing control. People think dignity is something you keep. It is not. Dignity is something you defend. And I defended mine long before anyone tried to take it. Because I did not want my final years to be a waiting room. I wanted them to be a chapter, and I'm still writing it. There's a strange lie people tell themselves as they age. They say, "I don't want to bother anyone." It sounds polite, but it's actually surrender wearing good manners. In psychology, we call this self-erasure, when a person slowly removes themselves from the lives of others to avoid feeling like a burden. And once you disappear emotionally, it becomes very easy for the world to move on without you. That is how people get placed instead of choosing. I made myself inconvenient on purpose. I asked for help when I didn't strictly need it, not because I was weak, but because connection needs friction to survive. In Loneliness by John Cacioppo, page 73, he wrote, "Social isolation is as powerful a predictor of early death as smoking." Let that sit with you. Loneliness is not a feeling, it is a biological threat. So I keep myself woven into other people's lives, not politely, deliberately. I show up to birthdays, I send handwritten notes, I remember details that prove I am still here. Because when people know you exist, they fight for you when you cannot. And that brings me to something no one likes to admit. Families don't abandon people, systems make it easy for them to stop trying.
When someone becomes complicated, when care becomes confusing, the world quietly suggests institutions, not out of cruelty, out of overwhelm. So I removed the overwhelm. I wrote everything down. My wishes, my limits, my boundaries. In The Art of Dying Well by Katie Bepler, page 134, she says, "Clarity is kindness at the end of life." That sentence is pure truth. When my children know what I want, they do not have to guess, and guessing is what breaks families. Most people avoid these conversations because they think planning for decline means inviting it. But psychology shows the opposite. It is called locus of control. People who feel in charge of their future experience less fear and more resilience. I was not preparing to die. I was preparing to stay myself. And let me tell you something quietly. The fear of a nursing home is not about the building. It is about losing your voice, being fed when you are not hungry, being bathed when you do not want to be touched, being called by your last name instead of your first. That is not care. That is erasure. So I built my life in a way that made me hard to erase. I am known, I am expected, I am missed when I am not there. And that's the real insurance. Not money, not medicine, belonging. Because people fight to keep what they love close, and I made sure I stayed close. Let me say something most people are too polite to admit. Growing old is not what breaks people. Being forgotten does. You can survive pain, you can survive loss, but when the world stops looking at you, the soul begins to fold inward. That is why I never let myself become invisible. In psychology, this is called existential validation, the deep human need to feel seen, heard, and counted. Without it, even a healthy body begins to decay. In Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, page 104, he wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." My why was simple. I wanted my life to still matter. So I stayed in conversation with the world. I kept opinions. I kept preferences. I kept choosing. Because choice is the last thing people lose before they lose everything else. And that's the quiet truth behind nursing homes. They are not filled with people who failed to live. They are filled with people who lost the right to decide what time to wake up, what to eat, what to watch, when to be alone. Those tiny choices are not tiny. They are the threads that hold a person together. In The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, page 87, he writes, "Small decisions done repeatedly create the architecture of everyday life, and architecture can either hold you up or box you in." So I designed my days with intention. I awake when my body is ready. I eat when I am hungry. I sit when I am tired, not when a bell rings. And here's something else nobody prepares you for. When you age, people start talking about you instead of to you. Doctors, family, caregivers. It feels subtle, but it steals your authority. In psychology, this is called infantilization, treating grown adults like helpless children, and it rots the spirit. So I never let anyone speak over me. I ask questions. I correct assumptions. I demand explanations, because being old does not mean being small. And if there's one line I wish I could carve into every heart, it is this: you do not drift into dignity, you fight for it. I did not avoid a nursing home by being lucky. I avoided it by being awake, by planning, by moving, by connecting, by refusing to shrink. And now here I am, still in my own home, still holding my own keys, still choosing my own mornings. 83 years behind me, and still standing in my own life, not waiting, living.